Hello, PMC fans, and also not PMC fans, and I can't fucking think of anything else to say because that's what I always say. We're here to interview Mr. Sharpino and the Sydney Krookodiles. Hello.
Hello and G-Day people, this is Sharpino here, your coach for the Sydney Krookodiles for Season 3 of the PMC. Thank you for having this interview with me.
Hey, you're welcome. And welcome to the league again, one of the few people to make it through from Season 1 to Season 3.
Yes, very excited to be here for Season 3. Did a lot better last season than I ever expected to, but hopefully I can look towards bigger and better things for Season 3.
Yeah, hopefully you keep improving like you were
Absolutely.
last season. What are your thoughts on the PMC, sir?
Okay, so PMC, obviously, is a bunch of cool dudes in the PMC. J-Spec's been the head commissioner. He's a really cool cat to work with. He likes things very organized, which is obviously a great quality for a leader, especially when running a Pokemon league. It can be very difficult, especially with people with different time zones, such as myself being an Australian. Of course, you've got a lot of Americans. So he does run a tight ship, and I guess, I like to be very prudent with my uploads and everything else. So I guess it works hand in hand with the league, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, he does a really good job of running it. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and what are your thoughts on the league format in general?
Gen 7 is actually going to be very interesting. Looking at the latest BGC and having a look at all of the different Pokemon that really ran rampant on the league, such as Tapus and a couple of Pokemon like Arcanine and Alola Mark and everything else, even things like Araquanid. It was definitely interesting to see how VGC went with just the Gen 7 Pokemon. Having that combined now with everything from Gen 1 to Gen 6 would definitely be interesting to see how the strategies change now that they're introducing all the gens into one league.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be really cool. Especially when I'm actually interested to see how Stingles is gonna turn out once Pokebang.
Yeah, like I mean, strategies and all that will be different, especially when you got the Z moves and all that taken into account, and you got your megas and all that. So it definitely will be interesting to see how people combine megas with Z moves, and you'll see moves like Protect being, I would say, a lot more used to anticipate certain moves, or even just to do general stall. But Protect now has an additional purpose to anticipate Z moves as well. So
Cool. So what is your prior league experience to the PMC?
beg your pardon?
Besides the PMC, do you have any other prior league experience?
No. I mean, I did join a league, the PCL, but that went under, so I wouldn't say it's a very successful league. I only went for 2 weeks, and I won both weeks, and it just fell apart. So most of the time, I'll just stick with the PMC just because I know, unless I know the people personally or spoken with them and known for them for a while, I probably wouldn't join the league unless I knew they ran a very good league. So the PMC has pretty much just been the one league that I've pretty much stuck with for my league experiences.
Yeah, like as somebody who's basically a whore for leagues, it's really uncommon and really difficult to have an actual league stay alive for a while.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, you've got people who drop out for personal reasons. You've got the leader kind of going MIA, and then the entire group is going, "What's happening?" And then, it's not a good feeling, especially when you're in a league and trying to make it work for everyone else. And yeah, it's really difficult sometimes just to try to be patient, especially when you're pretty much doing them the favor by being a part of their league, and then they just turn around and just don't pretty much fulfill their end of the bargain by keeping things in place. So, that's why I appreciate Jay Specs for the amount of effort that he puts into the PMC. Like, he puts his heart and soul into it. So that's when you got a dedicated leader right there.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you feel like is one of your biggest strengths when it comes to battling?
My biggest strengths. It's a good question, actually. I would say that definitely in the last league, I've always noticed, looking at my first two league experiences throughout the seasons 1, 2, I normally start off pretty bad, but then as the league goes on, I get the general gist of it. I start to, I would say, pick up on my consistency and try to build properly, and then when it comes to making some predictions, I guess it can be a good aspect of mine. So if I had to say what is my greatest strength when it comes to my league, I would assume, well, I'm guessing anyways, it would just come down to, I guess, anticipating certain moves, because I've noticed throughout the last season I've made a lot of correct calls when it comes to anticipating certain moves. But that will really be put to the test this season with, like I said, the introduction of Z moves. So a lot more anticipation needed to read those Z moves coming in.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other side, what do you feel like is one of your biggest weaknesses?
If I had to pick my greatest weakness, I think it would have to be two things actually. One would be team building, and I do really, I mean, I don't want to say I'm a bad team builder, but like I do like rely on a lot of opinions from other players to kind of help me just give that final bit of confidence I need to decide to run that team. And I guess the second thing is, I guess, is just keeping my cool in stressful situations. So if I had to pick two weaknesses, it would be just, I would say, being confident in my team building skills, and then just like keeping a cool head in stressful situations, like pretty much unprecedented situations, whether it be, hacks or, critical hits, or just misreading a situation and making a misplay, and then just trying to, get my headspace back into Zen mode to try and stay focused, I guess, would be my biggest weaknesses.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, personally, I don't see a problem with relying on other people for help. It's always good to get a second opinion so that you're not just, like, stubbornly blind to something. So, that's pretty fine to me, to be honest. But, yeah, how do you usually plan out your drafts, if you plan at all?
Well, I think like most players, we'll just start off from our first choice and then work our way through from there. So basically, we'll pick one Pokemon, and then the next Pokemon will be one that will complement its weaknesses and so forth. So, like say, for example, my first choice would be Hydreigon. Obviously, it's got a big fairy weakness, so a great answer to that would be something like maybe something like Skarmory, where it would be able to handle its weaknesses of fairy types and just be a big physical wall, take on those flying type weaknesses. So it's a matter of just applying not just what's available, because I mean what's available also impacts your decision as well, but also just looking at what works to help out the next member of your team, or sorry, the prior member of your team. So it's a matter of then, when you have 3 or 4 members, it's a matter of trying to find something that would complement the entire team. So things like, you got to have a defogger, you got to have a bulky mon, you got to have an offensive hitter. You're just covering your bases as you go along.
Yeah. That's usually how I've seen most people, or that's usually the kind of answer I've seen most people do. They have a rough outline of what they want and just kind of adapt to what happens in the draft.
Yeah, that
But what do you feel like is a really overrated Pokemon in the format?
overrated format or Pokemon.
Overrated Pokemon in the format. Sorry if I'm jumbling my words. I don't even remember what I said.
Okay, let's see. Overrated Pokemon. I'm gonna go with Tapu Bulu. Now, don't get me wrong. Tapu Bulu is a really good offensive heavy hitter, but there are ways to get around Tapu Bulu. Now, Tapu Bulu does really well VGC, obviously, with its grassy terrain, so you get the healing back on it. But I mean, Tapu Bulu by itself, I mean, it's quite a weakness to poison, and a lot of Pokemon in this journey can learn things like Poison Jab, Sludge Bomb, Gum Shot. So really, because Tapu Bulu doesn't have the greatest speed, it would definitely be outclassed by something that say have the Choice Scarf, or something that generally outspeed it and had access to those poison type moves. So if I had to say which Pokemon would be overrated, it'd probably be Tapu Bulu in singles format.
Well, that's actually, I think that was Verd's answer for underrated, but I can, it's honestly like, I can see the holes in Tapu Bulu, and people can definitely poke around on those. But what do you feel like is a really underappreciated mon in the format?
Underrated Pokemon. From Gen 7 or from Gens 1 to 6?
For Gen 7.
Hmm.
Or, I mean, just in general.
just trying to think what's a good Pokemon. Because, I mean, I feel a Araquanid can actually do pretty well. I think a lot of people don't underestimate it. I think a lot of people freak out by how bulky Araquanid is. But if I had to say which Pokemon is heavily found upon, well, I'll probably say underrated. Just trying to think, because I mean, there's a few of the Pokemon that's come out from Gen 7. I do like Turtonator. Turtonator is actually pretty good. Turtonator does have a lot of bulk. It's got a lot of HP, not a lot of speed, but it can do work with a lot of special attack. Same with Drumper. Like, there's a lot of good dragons that they released in Gen 7 that I feel like could do really well, on something like, say, a Trick Room team or, just by themselves. Like, Turtonator being Fire Dragon type is a pretty good typing. And I really feel like Game Freak dropped the ball on Drumper instead of giving that evolution to, say, Dunsparce and have Dunsparce evolve into Drumper. I guess going a bit off topic here, but I really think they could have tied that in together and give Dunsparce the evolution it finally deserves, so to speak. So if I had to say, which Pokemon would be underrated, it would probably be Turtonator and Drumper.
Yeah. I really Dunsparce involving the Drampa would be really cool, but to give input on the idea that they did good with dragons, I also want to point out Guzzlord. I really feel like Guzzlord's going to be insane in the format because it's basically like Blissey / Wobbuffet, but also good offense. So it's got an insane move pool. It would be a great Zoo move mon. I actually kind of want to draft it, to be honest, but
That's the Dark Dragon, right?
yeah, it's the fat one.
Yeah. The really big one, yeah. No, I think I think it does have the potential. I think again it just comes down to like Hydreigon. It's just everyone looks down. It's 4 times weakness to Fairy, and considering that there's so many new Fairy types that have come out of Gen 7, it's not really looked at because one Fairy type move can really fuck it over. So I would say definitely a Guzzlord could definitely do some work in the league here. It's just a matter of someone giving it a chance to actually work with it and actually find out the niches of the Pokemon.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's got a quad weakness to Fairy, but like HP Fairy doesn't exist, and it's bulky enough to bulk Fairy coverage hits. And to be honest, it'd be a mid tier pick, and anyone with half a brain would have built a way to support Guzzlord. They would have picked up Scizor, something like that, some way to deal with Fairies reliably, to kind of let Guzzlord do its thing.
Yeah, just basically having a like a Steel Fairy. Dragon Core kind of just to cover each other, so
yeah,
like most people do anyways, like Jirachi, Scizor, Ferrothorn, a lot of those very durable steel types that really can come in clutch when it comes to having fairies and I would say dragons on your team. So
what are your expectations for yourself into this season?
It's a good question because I can't believe I did so well last season when I went into the semi-finals and I lost to the Oregon Ducklets, which funnily enough I do face in this season here. So it's definitely interesting to see what my expectations are because I did so well in the last season. If I could match what I did last season, I would be very happy with that just because it keeps the bar where I left it. Obviously, if I don't do as well, obviously, it just means I've dropped the ball a bit. But, I mean, we've got a lot of different teams to take into account. So, I mean, I can't expect the same results. But, I mean, I'll just do the best that I can. And whatever happens, happens. And I just have to make the best of the situation, whatever happens. So, I mean, I would like to win because I got so close last season. But as far as expectations goes, if I could just match and be a semi-finalist, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, cool. And do you have any inspirations when it comes to your battling?
I would say definitely one of my co-competitors, the Vert, is definitely a great inspiration. Him winning season 2 of the PMC was, a big shout outs to all the Aussies. That was definitely one of them. And, he's been doing a lot of leagues, and I've been watching his battle progress and everything else. And I watch his battle videos, and everything he explains is well thought out. It's not rash or anything. It's not that it's it was for a bad reason. Everything that he says is explained, and it's explained well. Also, A Drive is another inspiration when it comes to league battles because I mean He does explain everything. There's never comes to a point where you watch him make a move and you're left with a question mark in your head to say, why did he do that? I mean, sometimes some people make mistakes, and it's understandable in the league. Sometimes people make mistakes, but for the majority of the time, I would say the Vert and A-Drive both explain and they follow through with their moves, and the results speak for themselves. You know, they've won leagues, they've won multiple battles, so I mean, the results speak for itself.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both very good battlers and good people to look to for assistance.
The fact I'm in the same league as Vert though does make me a little bit worried, just because he's usually my main man when it comes to helping me out with team prep. So to find out I have to verse him twice in this league again, like I did in season 1, is very terrifying. So hopefully I can pull a rabbit out of the hat, but I won't get too ahead of myself. We'll just see how things go and just hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. I know you're a pretty busy guy, but we managed to squeeze this interview in. I got majority of them done today. But I have one final question for you, as I've slowly been slipping into intoxication in this video. Who is going to be our PMC Season 3 champion?
I've broken 2 promises the first season, saying that the Sydney Krookodiles are going to win. I'm going to throw it in the air and say third time's a charm, and I'm going to announce that the Sydney Krookodiles will be the winners of the PMC for Season 3, and hope I follow through with it.
And even if you're not the champions, you're still going to be the winners, because everyone's a winner.
Look, at the end of the day, I'm enjoying being a part of this group, so regardless of the result, I'm just happy to be here, like you said. So, I mean, yeah, it's a bunch of cool dudes. You know, I'll hopefully get to meet more of the new coaches as we go along, and hopefully I'll make some more friends as we go along. So that's the main part of the league, is just to make friends, have fun, and just enjoy it. Don't get too serious or cutthroat about it.
Yeah. It's a good way to think about it. No matter what happens, we're all still friends. It's still going to be a good time no matter what.
Absolutely.
So, that's going to be the end of the video. Go ahead and like and comment and all that good shit. And also check out Sharp's channel, because he posts quite a bit of stuff. He's one of the more active guys in the league right now. So definitely go check him out. But yeah, that'll be it. You have any last words?
Yep. No, all I can say is, check out my channel. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Sharpino1990. All support is greatly appreciated to vaccinating Krookodiles, but also go ahead and check out the other coaches, because I'm sure they would appreciate your support as well. And like I said in all my videos, all I can say is stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll catch you guys all next time.
Goodbye. Specs is here. Goodbye.